Here are 5 reasons why all Valorant players should check out CS2. Number 1. Focus on fundamentals. Counter-Strike is, in many ways, simpler than Valorant. Instead of having to figure out team comps, agent abilities, ability combos, ults, and random tech that only applies to one agent, you can focus more on the fundamentals of tactical shooters that transcend any one specific game. Positioning, trading, peeking, rotations, etc. all become easier to learn and think about without, and I say this lovingly, the layer upon layer of absolute nonsense Valorant piles onto the players. Despite Counter-Strike's increased mechanical depth, I find it much easier to think about both my individual micro and the overall game macro in CS without having to worry about getting breach ult, jet dash, astra stun, sova dart, fade dog executed on. And the great thing is, if you do end up making strides in the way you think about the game, it will transfer over pretty much one-to-one to Valorant. Number 2, the movement is awesome. If you're a Valorant player who enjoys movement, Counter-Strike has a ton to offer. There are loads of skill jumps to learn that can give you an actual leg up in games, and there are entire community-created modes and maps specifically dedicated to movement. The movement in CS is deep and extremely rewarding once you start to get the hang of it. Getting yourself across the map in the most efficient way possible is a massive skill unto itself in Counter-Strike, and as someone who likes double blast packing around in Valorant, CS's movement scratches that itch in a way that Valorant just doesn't. A lot of players new to CS will complain of movement feeling like you're on ice, but just remember to counter-strafe and that feeling should subside pretty quickly. Number 3, you will become a more well-rounded player. There are no set roles in CS. How you play the game is not dictated by an immutable pregame decision, but by the needs of your team on a moment-to-moment basis. This is my favorite part of Counter-Strike. In Valorant, if I take some hard-earned space on the map, but I'm playing an initiator, it feels a bit like I'm throwing if I don't eventually end up grouping with my team who would greatly benefit from my agent's unique info-gathering abilities. As I started to play more and more Counter-Strike, I began to find this aspect of Valorant incredibly annoying and limiting. In CS, by contrast, every player is more or less self-sufficient, which allows roles to shift fluidly as a round progresses. I have come to really enjoy this flexibility a lot. Uniform utility also means that if you are even a little curious, you will end up learning a bit how to use every type of grenade. If you commit some time to playing CS and learning some key util, I promise you will go back into Valorant with new ideas and a general grasp of how all the essential util types should be used. You're gonna look at that guy who says,
"Oh, sorry, I don't know how to play smokes,"
with pity. As an example, I remember back when I first put some serious time into CS, I came back to Valorant with a bunch of cool new ideas for KO flashes that I had never considered before, just due to learning a bunch of meta flashes on various CS maps. Number 4, your mechanics will improve. You know how baseball players will swing their bat with weights on it before they go to the plate? Well, playing Counter-Strike is essentially that, but for tac shooters. Targets are smaller and faster in Counter-Strike, and the requirement to counter-strafe to accurately hit your shots makes the mechanics of shooting considerably harder than in Valorant. Once you go back to Valorant, enemy players will look both enormous and slow by comparison, and it will feel easier to hit your shots. Whenever I play Valorant with my friends these days, I still warm up in CS. I don't know if I'd necessarily advise this, but it's safe to say that spending some time playing CS will make you better at clicking heads in Valorant. Number 5, it's a joy to play. Counter-Strike hasn't been around for 20 years by accident. It's a time-tested, well-balanced game that is fundamentally simple, yet carries nearly unlimited depth. The fact that it doesn't change that much could sound boring, but it's actually a huge positive to me. If you take a break for a couple of months, there won't be some radical change of meta and a notebook's worth of patch notes and new agents to catch up on. You can just log on and start fragging. The game doesn't need constant updates, the same way the NBA doesn't change the height of its hoops and the size of the ball every season. There's no need to mess around too much with a good thing. In my opinion, moving and shooting in CS just feels satisfying in a way that it doesn't in Valorant for reasons that are honestly easier experienced than explained. You've just got to go try it for yourself. So to wrap things up, I'm not asking you to give up Valorant, I just think you should give CS2 a try. If you're interested, check out this short video I made going over everything Valorant players should know before jumping into CS. Thanks.